It's a great pleasure to be here in Paris. This is the Mondial Body Fitness Form Expo. This is the 25th anniversary of this show, and we've got the pleasure to have with us one of the best champions. Shawn Rhoden is with me. Shawn, thanks for coming on the QNT stand. How are you in Paris?
I'm having a blast, and I'd like to thank QNT for taking the time to bring me out here. It's just been awesome being here the last couple of days and just having a lot of fun.
Okay, so you tell you have fun in Paris. I guess this is your first time in France. What are your first impressions?
People are very friendly, beautiful women, great food. It's just been awesome being here and to be able to meet different group of fans. And to help expand the QNT brand. So, it's been awesome being out here.
A few minutes ago you were on stage thanks to QNT, and you met the French audience here in Paris. And what is really interesting with you is that you joined the audience naturally, this is something that in your mind, in your way of behaving.
Not really. The fans were just so into it that they really wanted to get them involved a little bit more. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to get off stage and just kind of make my way through the crowd and give them just a little bit more, something a little bit more up close and personal. They welcomed me with open arms and just want to spread a little bit of love.
This was one of the reasons why you chose to do this sport, which is a sport and an art and an entertainment all together.
Well, originally I was a soccer player and a swimmer. I got pulled into bodybuilding, and ever since day one, I fell in love with the sport and what it had to offer, and it's just such a great feeling, especially being at an event like this, to see how the audience really get involved and, want more, want to take more pictures. Kind of inspiring also, giving someone else something to work forward to.
As far as working out is concerned, what was your first goals at the beginning, and what inspired you, and who inspired you?
When I started working out, I just wanted to, strengthen my different muscle group, going from swimming to soccer in high school. Then I got talked into doing one show. That one show was great. I won, and I just continued. Later on, after competing for a few years and looking through the magazine, I get to notice a few of the pros like Flex Wheeler, Shawn, Kevin Levrone, and they inspired me. It was something that I wanted to work towards. They had more of the classic look, and I thought that I could achieve it. So, I pushed a little bit harder, worked a little bit harder, to achieve that goal, and here I am.
When you work out, what is the first motivation to go to another step, and step by step being even better than in the beginning?
I've always told myself that the only person that could beat me, the only person that could fail me is me. And that's from looking in the mirror. You should be able to visualize where you want to be. Whether you're just starting out, you've been in this sport for a while, there's always room for improvement. So, doing this sport, it gives an opportunity to work towards something each and every day. If you make it a part of your lifestyle, it becomes a little bit easier.
If there's something you achieved greatly, is your legs. You tell me I've got a goal to reach. As far as legs are concerned, it's a great result. It's one of your strong point.
Well, after competing for a couple of years, I normally looked at the guys that I compete against, and I always look from the ground up to see if the package is complete. And after looking back when I was younger, I realized that I was an incomplete bodybuilder. So I worked a little bit harder, and legs became my favorite body part because I've always wanted to build from the ground up, have a foundation. Once you have a foundation, it becomes a little bit easier. Most guys go to the gym, and the first thing they train is arms. They want big arms and chests. Nobody worries about from the waist down. But I found out from training legs, I was able to build the rest of my physique also.
Let's talk about competition. What was your first competition, and how old were you?
The first show I ever did was a small AAU show back in Washington, D.C. as a teenager, and I think I was 17 years old, and won the teenage and the novice, and it was actually a funny story. I was nervous backstage, being as though I got talked into competing. The announcer said, "Let's get the show on the road," and I thought he said Shawn Rhoden, so I walked out on stage, and as I walked out, it got real quiet, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. And the commentator was saying, there's a guy that was eager to get the show started. And for me, ever since that day, that break the ice. I've never been nervous walking out on stage, because I feel as if that moment kind of take everything away, all the fear of being on stage. So that was my first show that I ever did.
When you compare vibrations at the first show and in Mr. Olympia or Arnold Classic, the contest, the show is completely different. The goals are different. The competitors are different. How did you feel, for example, for Olympia and for Arnold Classic?
For the Olympia, I was very excited. The Olympia was my third ever pro show. I qualified for the Olympia, my second pro show. So I was very excited, to be in that atmosphere, to be in the same stage, past champion like Dorian Yates, competitors like Shawn Ray, Flex Wheeler, and all those guys graced that stage at the Olympia. So it was a moment for me where I was overwhelmed. When I received my letter that I was actually going to the Olympia, it was like, I remember looking at the paper going, wow, I'm going to the Olympia, So
an achievement.
It was an achievement that quite a few athletes tried and never made it, so it was an honor for me. I was very humble, and I told myself if I never made it back to the Olympia stage, for me that moment said it all. Competing at the Arnold Classic also, that was the first ever pro show I ever went to watch. So getting invited to compete in that stage was a dream come true for me, because I've always wanted to be at that show after seeing it, my first pro show. So, this year being able to actually achieve that, and
But let's talk about the result. Not really satisfied with the result.
No, as a competitor, we always strive to do better. Always want a little bit more.
But you were not really pleased with that.
I wasn't pleased with it, but in the back of my mind, it gave me something to work forward to say that I will be back and I will be much better the next time around.
Yeah, next step to reach.
Yeah, it kind of put everything in perspective, where you don't know where you're at as a competitor until you're standing on stage with the best of the best. Then you can imagine where you need to be at. You could see from standing next to your fellow competitors, okay, was I competitive enough? Was I where I need to be at? What do I need to work on? As you stand on the side looking at the lineup, if you belong there. So I knew that I belonged there. Whether the placement was what it was supposed to be at, maybe it just wasn't my turn. It just wasn't my time. Nothing happened before its time. So
anyway, you belong to this inner circle.
Yes, I know that I belong there, and I'm just going to continue to do me until I get to the pinnacle.
Let's talk about the next show you plan to compete.
Well, I'm working with Dave Kalick, my nutritionist out in California, and I'm going to be working with Charles Glass, and one of the world's most famous trainer. And we're looking at the schedule, and right now we are targeting to do something in August, the Europa Super Show in Texas, and we're going to make some improvement, not much. We're going to make some slight improvement to bring a better package, and hopefully will get us to where we need to be at.
I'm sure of that. Anyway, let's talk about QNT, because you make you make the decision to be sponsored by QNT. This is a European brand. You're from the States. Originally, there are many American brands coming out to Europe. This is the opposite. What was the motivation to choose QNT? A question of philosophy?
Well, after speaking with RJ back in the U.S. and talking with Francois and seeing the direction where the brand was going, I wanted to be a part of something from the ground up. As I said, the foundation. If you could start with a company and watch it grow and help it grow and become a part of that company, I think it's a lot better as an athlete because you're helping that brand, to flourish. If it's something that you believe in also, then you have someone that's looking up to you saying, wow, what, this guy is using the brand that, is not well known in the United States, but he's using the brand and it's making him better. So I wanted to be a part of something as it grow,
And not just a number.
And not just a number. Before I actually started, after we spoke, I sat for a couple of days and really thought it over. And that was one of the things that conclusion that I came to. Do I want to be one of many, or do I want to be the one?
And this is it.
And this is it. I wanted to be the one that helped this brand to succeed. I didn't want to be just another number of athletes. He's 20 athletes with us. I want to be known as the QNT athlete.
It's a real partnership.
Yes, and I mean it's been great, so far. They welcomed me with open arms and brought me here to Paris, for the expo, and everything's been wonderful. So I'm very thankful.